So in my previous video I built this new cross member on my 1939 Hudson build. This is an Isuzu frame for those who don't know. And I also did a removable section for the transmission mount. And I fabricated these bushings for my planned torsion bar airbag suspension system. But now I need to extend these torsion bars all the way to the back here behind the cab. And continue with this whole design of mine coming up. Hey, how's it, jokes, and welcome back to my one-man shop out here in a forest in South Africa. This is where I specialized in forest engineering. If you don't know me, my name is Diff, and you say it exactly the same as you would that thing over there. So the first thing I want to do here is to figure out a way in which to extend this torsion bar. So this is made from spring steel, so I don't want to weld anything on here. I think that'll just give me all sorts of problems. Now if you look carefully, you'll see there's some splines on here, and then this original bracket or lever also has got splines, so it fits over there. So I'm thinking that maybe I can use this fitting. If I cut off this bracket part of it and only retain that sort of round pipe section with the splines on the inside of it, then maybe I can find a piece of pipe, strong pipe or something with an ID about the same as that, and I can stick it in there and do some plug welds or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out as I go along. But I think what I want to do first for now is just to cut off this bracket so that I'm just left with that round bit that goes through the middle of it. So I scratched here in my pipe shelf and I found this piece. It's what we call Schedule 40 steam pipe. You guys in the States will probably know it's similar thing as DOM. It's seamless. But this one is unfortunately sized in the metric system. So the OD is 48.3 millimeters, something ridiculous like that, which is very close to 2 inches. The wall thickness is 3.68 millimeters, which is a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch. And the ID is very close to the ID that I have right there. So it almost fits in on the inside of this pipe. So if I stick this in a lathe and I just turn that little bit down, I should be able to slide it in there, and then I can drill some holes and plug weld this piece into place. Golden question, is this piece of pipe strong enough? I don't know. Many moons ago, they tried to teach me strength of materials. So I was trying to remember about calculating the torsional forces and all of that, and I just gave up. I just have a feeling that's going to be strong enough. Worst case scenario, it will wrap up or twist, then we'll go back to the drawing board. But I think it will do the trick.
Die hele vertrek, voordat ek spesifiek aangesit het ek al hy dan, as jy maar die battery vat, nou, daai ou klein is wat ons spaar nie aan, daar is amper niks lyk op die battery. En ek het die hele huis doen, die garage is alles aan. Yes.
So am I supposed to do any work with all of you O's here?
Uncle, you cry when we don't come and visit. Now we are here to help.
So I'm no great machinist, but I kind of get by when it comes to the stuff that does not require a lot of accuracy. So I've got this turned now to fit inside my piece of pipe. Can go in there. This plan is to weld it in there. Andre, if you're watching here, no criticism from you, please. I leave all I leave all my accurate stuff for my mate Andre at Pro Engineering. My challenge or my problem now is going to be when I turn this thing around, because I know my chuck is not center, so it's going to become quite messy. I need to do something about it. I've been told how to sort it out, but I've just got to get the time to do it. Okay, let's see now. Yes, it fits. The finish is quite terrible, but then the bit on my tool here is quite worn out. I think I must get some new ones when I go to town again. So my spline piece is now going to go into the end of the pipe, like that. I must say I've got some concerns about this now. I should have thought about it more. The wall thickness on this is not that much. I shouldn't have machined that center part off of it. I should have left it on and looked for a pipe with a bigger diameter, or just a piece or something. So I'm actually kind of concerned that when I stick this in here, because I'm going to cut the holes here now to plug weld it on, that it might actually cause some distortion. And then it won't fit over the splines. So I reckon the safest thing for me to do is to stick this onto the end of the torsion bar, then stick the whole business in here, and then weld it. And then, yeah, well, if it spines up or whatever, then so be it. I don't know. Let's see how it's going to work out. So I just want to establish some lines here. Using a piece of angle bar like this is a great way to get some parallel markings on a piece of pipe. So I'm just going to make myself a mark there. And then I can center punch for drilling my holes. One here. And one here. The chuck on my battery drill is wearing out. It just doesn't want to grip the bits anymore. So before I weld this bush in here, I'm just going to stick the torsion bar in just in case it binds up from the heat. And then, well, if I can't get it out afterwards, it's not the end of the world until it breaks. Then we'll fight with it. Maybe I should do this slowly. So I'm first going to do the one on the other side now. Maybe I should let this cool down first and then I'll do some more welding. So I'm going really slowly with this business. After I did the 2 opposing welds, I pulled out my torsion bar. It came out easy enough. And then I stuck it in a bucket of cold water to cool it down. So it's fitting pretty well. I can get it in and out. Because I don't want to heat up the spring steel unnecessarily. Can't be good for it. So I'm going to do it really slowly, do 2 more opposing welds, pull it out again, cool this down, and carry on like that until I'm done. Yeah, maybe I'm overcautious. But you know, as they say in the classics, rather than safe than sorry. I would like to keep this as strong as I can, so I don't want to heat it up. And if I can still pull it out after everything is said and done, that's first prize. So I've got this splined insert fully welded now on 4 sides. I did 2 passes in each, so we call it a slotted opening. And then I did I think the clever guys call it a cap weld. So I think it's not going to go anywhere. And my torsion bar can go in and still comes out. So I'm very happy about that. So I've got this thing lying here on the frame now. It's a freaking long business. Okay, I've left it long in the back. So it's probably going to get cut off there somewhere. The cap will probably stop around there. There on that side, I've already got that torsion bar installed. And that's where that carrier bush is. So I now need to see what's going to happen from that point onto there. And if I stick this extension piece here, you can see that this cross member is in the way now. I mean, it needs to move through about here somewhere. And this is exactly in the way. So I'm going to have to cut this out. Busted up my old bloody torch. So this ceramic nozzle or cup, or what do you call it, on my torch decided to disintegrate. I don't know why. Luckily I found another old one, because town is a long way from here. I'd like to get this done so I can just fit the new one or the new old one. This goes in like that, and then this, and then the nozzle. Okay, we should be good to go again. Okay, let's try again and see if we can complete this cut so that I can get this thing out of here. Voila! Another piece of Isuzu that's going to the scrap heap. Right, so that's more or less what it will look like with these extension pieces in place. It's above the bottom end of the frame, so that's good. So the basic plan now is to make up a pin that fits into the end of the pipe. It can also be plug welded into place, and then make a bush that fits over the pin to support the extension piece. So we need to think about the machining and engineering and machining of that. And then I'm going to have to provide a cross member here to carry this bush. So I was scratching here in my pile and I found this rusty piece of 3x2 box section. So I think I'm going to clean that up a little bit and just make a basic start on a cross member here, which will help to support, or onto which I can attach a bracket or something to bolt that support bush. Let me go and clean up this thing. So I'm going to clean up this rusty piece outside here. It's just such a freaking mess. I'd rather have it out here and the dust can blow away. I'm going to use one of these, I think they're called face-off discs or paint stripping discs. I'm not sure. But yeah, you know the ones I'm talking about. And please don't be like that crazy old man in Africa. Wear a dust mask. So you see, the thing is this, as some of my mates will also tell you, once you get past a certain age, some of us grow these long nose hairs. And they work so well that you don't even need a dust mask anymore. So yeah, after staring at this business for quite some time, there's now some serious CAD work and envisioning and head scratching going on here. This represents the back of the cab. This piece of pipe here is my prop shaft or my transmission shaft. When the truck is fully slammed. Yeah, by the way, this whole back end needs to still come off in a new diff, and all this needs to be changed. So yeah, when the truck is fully slammed, the diff, it will be sitting way up there somewhere. I've exaggerated to make sure that I'm safe here. So somewhere here, on this cross member that I still need to build, will be a carrier bearing. And from there we go on to the gearbox or the transmission. So yeah, I've making sure that I'm thinking about everything that's required. Let's see how it turns out. What did I say? Sometimes you got to do it twice to get it nice. So let's make a start on the first effort and see where we end up. Let me just add this little bit to conclude the envisioning. So there's going to be a lever here onto the pipe, or the torsion bar extension, or whatever we want to call it. The airbag needs to sit somewhere here, and then that lever will connect there. So yeah, once I've built the rest of it, I'm gonna have to come up with some brackets and stuff here to hold the airbag in the correct height position and have it connect to the lever and all of that. So there's still a long journey ahead here. Let's get going. So I'm going to try and make this shape out of a 3x2 box section. So the first thing I'm going to do is to establish the length of this curvy part, starting right here where the straight turns into the first curve, and I'm going to use this wire to measure that length all the way through to the straight section on this side, and that sits about there. So now if I measure, or rather first I need to straighten out the wire, and now I want to measure this distance. Except I don't have to measure it because I've created a memory stick. So I've made some marks on each side of my memory stick. And I'm now going to cut out this section that I've colored in or shaded or cross-haired or whatever you call it. And just for a change of pace, instead of doing these long cuts with the zip, what do you call them? Zip cut discs. Like I said before, it's not a term we use in South Africa. But anyway, instead of using the grinder to cut these long cuts, I think I'm going to use the plasma cutter for a change. So I've clamped on this flat bar and I've moved it away from the edge by that much. I'm allowing for the wall thickness of my material and the diameter of the nozzle, so that when I cut, I will be left with pretty much only the wall thickness of my material, if you know what I mean. Okay, sweet man, so I've got both of these sides cut out. And I'm just gonna grind that edge a little bit so that it's nice and flush with the inside. Right, now let's cut this thing through here so we can turn it into a snake. So that's what it looks like now. It's all warped and curved from all that heat, but I really don't mind. It's what I want, because I'm now going to bend this piece to that shape. And I'm going to just start by seeing if I can just bend this up a little bit. That's the start of it. I think you guys can see where I want to go with this. So for my next step, I'm going to make this out of steel. And then I can tack it and work my way along. Let's do that. So when you run your torch against the edge of something straight like I've done here, you'll obviously see that there's a little offset there. So that's pretty much the same as half the diameter of your tip. You can experiment and make a cut and then measure that offset. In my case it's 3 millimeters, which is about the same as 1/8 of an inch. So if I want to make up a template for cutting out pieces, I must make my template smaller all along by that difference, in my case 3 millimeters. So this is the shape of the final piece I want. But if I use this as a template and I run my torch along the edge of it, the final piece is going to be bigger on both sides by that distance that we've just measured, and that's no good. So I've decided to make a new template out of thicker material, in this case 6 millimeter ply, I think 1/4 inch MDF would probably be a better material, but this is all I had. And I've made it that 3mm or 1/8 of an inch smaller all the way around. So it's a little bit smaller than this one, all the way around, like I said. So I'm now going to use this, clamp it to my steel, and then I've got my guide for cutting out my piece. Right, so I've got my template clamped to this piece of 3mm, 1/8 of an inch thick, brand new piece of steel. So that's what it looks like so far. On the one edge you can see that overlap, or whatever we want to call it. Doesn't look too bad. The only thing that can make it better is that the operator has got a more steady hand than this old greybeard. Okay, let's see. Not too bad, apart from this mess here. Let's not talk about it. Luckily, we've got grinders and welders. So I fitted a new cutting tip before doing this side, and it's looking very good. It's a lot better than the other side. So yes, changing that cutting tip to a new one made a huge difference. This is the Forest Engineering version of a CNC setup. I've cut 2 of them, and I must say my pattern is still very serviceable. So you could cut a whole lot more if you ask me. So let's get on to the next step. Okay, I'm making a start here. I've got my piece of plate clamped on here, lots of clamps everywhere. And I'm just going to tack it on right there to get going. So now I'm going to just work my way along this edge, getting a feel for it. So I'm gonna give it a tack, check it, clamp it, pull it, do whatever is necessary, and work my way along. that worked out alright. This gap here is not bad. There's a little bit of a gap there. That's what it is. I'll just have to patch in a piece. So now I can turn it around and fit this plate that needs to go on this side. And I have to push and pull things a little bit, but we'll get it in place in pretty much the same way. And there we have it, man. Now I've just got to weld it fully and then grind it nicely to give it that sculpted look. So I did not want to bore you with the welding of this thing, but there it is, it's done. Ouch, it's still hot. So now I need to spend quite a fair bit of time in grinding it to make it look nice. And I'm not going to bore you with that either. Maybe we should organize an ad break of sorts, so you can go fetch a beer or a coffee or whatever your poison is. Well, I got the grinding done, and I must say it's looking quite smart. I'm happy. And since we came this far, we might as well make it faster and add some speedos. Maybe one down there, another one here somewhere, there, and there, something like that. I'll maybe just measure it out a little bit, make sure it's equally spaced. Yeah, I think that's gonna look cool. Let's have a look here in my bin of offcuts. I throw all my bits of pipe and tubing and round bar in here. Yes, I think this is going to work. Let's give it a try. So I've got these bits of 32mm OD tubing. That would be 1.25 inches. I've made a few marks. So I think if I drill here with an hole saw of the same size, would be here and here and here and there. And then I can stick these in and weld them in place. I think that's going to look nice. So if you are a YouTube welding inspector, you have now found a very good target. Because my TIG welding skills are severely limited. I am, however, fully certified with all types of grinders. Well, there you go, man. I think I have now increased my top end by at least 0.1 kilometer an hour. I've been making this from an offcut, so it's a little too short, but it's just steel. So I'm going to glue on a piece here and another piece there and then it will be long enough to fit in between the two frame rails. Like so. And now I guess I need to make this pretty like the rest of the thing. Like so. Now looking at this thing, I suppose I could do another speedo here, or even two. But I'm getting a bit tired of this thing now. Maybe I must just cut it to size first, go stick it in the frame to see what it looks like. And we take it from there. Look here! Disaster struck. I was merrily contemplating matters when my thinking chair suddenly developed a suspension problem. Luckily I know someone who can fix it. Looks like another piece of shit with built-in redundancy, because this thing screws into a plastic insert. Can you freaking believe it? So I'm going to try and pull that out and just weld the bloody thing back on here. If I can get this piece of stupid plastic out of here. Freaking thing doesn't want to come out. Well, I'm just going to leave it in there then and just weld this thing on, and then the plastic can melt and do whatever it wants. Okay, I just got to make sure that I get my wheel alignment right. We don't want too much camber here. Having fun here welding plastic and rust. Well, I've got it glued together here with what is probably the worst weld I've done in a long, long time. But it should hold. Anything will be better than that stupid plastic insert. Let's go give it a test drive. Okay, let's see. Towing is perfect. And my thinking chair is good again for future contemplation sessions. So my cross members can go in something like this. The exact position and height gonna be determined somewhat by the pins and the bushes that I still need to make to support the back ends of my torsion bar extensions. And my buddy Andre needs to machine them for me. So we kinda come to a point where I think I'm gonna call it a day for now. Thanks for watching and keeping me company out here in the forest. I enjoyed it. Until the next video, have a lucky one.